Hi there, this is Clovis from Kinematic Lab. In this video I'm going to show you how the connection object works. So let's start the UI Toolkit interface. I'm going to stripes category here and pick the connection object. So I press the left mouse button here to start and click in the viewport. And that's it. Now you can right click to stop the creation and your object is there. So let's go with the parameters. So what you can see for now is just a square mesh because the connection object needs some other objects in some lists here to understand what it has to do. So in order to do that, I'm going to create some helpers. So I will make some helpers like that, 10 helpers here, and I'm going to copy them. Now I'm going back to the properties, and in this nodes list you have two lists here. You have a source list and a target list. So what it does is I can pick with the plus button here. It opens a selection window and I will pick the first objects. So these objects, and in the target list I will do the same and pick the target objects. So that's it. Now you have your connections, and what it does is that it connects the first object in the source list to the first object in the target list. So you see that they are sort of intricated like that because the second list, the target list, the way Max does it is it's not properly ordered by default. Okay, so you see that the numbers are not ordered. So if you want, for example, this one to be straight, it has to be connected to the 18 point in this case. So you can just move it up with these buttons, move it up or move it down. So now the first in the list connecting the first in the list, etc. So let's talk about the lines parameter now. We have the number of segments, okay? So you can make smoother lines or just straight lines. You have the width here to change the line width. The handles changes the length of the Bezier handles, okay? And the percentage here changes the sort of the growing of the lines, okay, from 0 to 100. Now I will just decrease this and talk about the delay option. So if I animate my percentage here, I will put some keyframes, okay, put this delay to 0. So for the moment all these lines are happening at the same time, so are going at the same speed. But if I change the delay value here, you see that the first line is going first, the second, etc. They are going to grow one after the other. And you can just make it faster using your keyframe. You can speed it up, okay? But still having a line growing quite fast, you can delay them a bit more. Okay. So now to talk you to explain these two options, I have to explain each option. For the moment, the same idea option says that the first object in the source list connect to the first in the targets. The second object in the source list connect in the second in the target list, etc. But if I check each to each, the first object here connects to all the targets. The second connect to all the targets. The third to all the targets. The fourth, etc. The same. So I will just decrease this so you can see better what I mean. So now if I animate here, you see that these start options say that all the lines connected to the source object are going at the same speed, okay? And then all the lines connected to this source objects are going to the same speed, etc. But the delay is happening along the source list. So this one first, this one second, this one third, etc. If you check the end option here, all the lines connected to the targets, to this target, are going at the same speed. Then all the lines connected to the second target, which is the 12 in this case, see here, are going at the same speed, and then, you know, one by one until they are all connected till the end of the list. And if you choose both here, you have the both options together. So it's this one to this one, then this one to this one, then this one to this one, etc. until the end, then this one to this one, this one to this one. So it can take a lot more time, as you can see, but you can just, or you can change the length of your timeline, or you can speed it up by making your keyframe faster like that, or just have very small delay. Okay, now it looks much more complicated. Okay, so now if I go back to same idea here, I will change the width. You see that you can change the up vector, so which is the direction it looks at, I mean the plane direction it looks at. So for the moment all the lines are facing the Z axis, but it can face the Y axis. Okay, you can choose X, but in this case it's not going to do something good, because they are already sort of aligned in their own direction. So let's keep Z for now. And you have here a checkbox to not only connect the first to the first, the second to the second, etc., but random them. So the first can be connected to any of the targets, and the second to any of the targets, etc. And with the seed button you just generate another random choice. Fine. Now let's talk about these two buttons. For the moment we picked some objects in a source list and some objects in the target list. What you can do is you can use meshes instead of using objects like that. So instead of using some helpers, it can use some vertices. So I created a geosphere here, and I will pick it in the target mesh here. So I pick the objects, and you see that now the list of helpers is frozen, so you can't access it. But instead you have a mesh picked here. So you can move that mesh and all the lines are always connected, rotate it, scale it, add some modifiers. And do whatever you want, all the lines still connected to it. So it's using the vertices instead of using the transforms of the objects in this list. So for now, you see that if I increase this number, it doesn't increase the number of connections, simply because you have more vertices here than you have helpers there. So if you want them to be all connected, you have to add more helpers in this list, of course. Right, now let's talk about these axis options. For now, the basic option is on the normals, so it's following the normals of the objects. So in the case of objects picked in the lists here, so these helpers, it's going to follow the x-axis. So if I rotate it, it's going to follow always the x-axis. So you can rotate each source object as you want, but you can choose as well to be oriented only on the x, so it doesn't change if you rotate the objects, or only on the y-axis or along the z-axis. Okay, and it can be flipped. Okay, for all the axes, even for the normal one. And that's the same for the target objects. So for now it's following the normals, so the vertex normals. So if I rotate my objects, lines always follow this normal. Okay. And I can say it follow the x-axis, y, z, flip it, etc. The same as I did here. Okay, now I will remove this and go back to this list. And let's talk about the text parameters. So I have an on-off option here to enable it, and this is a list where you can pick the font you want, so you have access to all the fonts installed on your computer. So I will pick Arial for the moment, and in this source list and target list I can write with my keyboard, write the text I want to have on these connections. So let's say the first will be A, the second will be B, C, D, E, F, G, etc. And if I want them to appear, I have to click on the update button. Okay, so I turn my scene, that's it. So I have my letters here, I can rescale them with the size option and offset them if I want to. And I can write exactly what I want on this text. So even numbers or symbols, or remove some of them, even have free lines like that. Okay, and you can see here you have alignment options, so left, mid and right. So for the moment all the text are aligned along the left, but they can be aligned along the middle and the right, which is the best choice here, and you can offset them to stick to the dots. Okay, now if I rotate my source objects, you see that the letters, all these texts are following their source objects. So if I check the follow nodes here, they will not only follow the position but also the rotation like that. So if I rotate it and uncheck this, it always stays flat, but it's rotating as well. You can also rotate the texts all together with this value, so sometimes it can be cool to have them oriented that way. And you have exactly the same options on the targets. So okay, like that, and you can have some free lines as well. So remember that what you write here, 1, 2, is ordered depending on this order. So in that case you see that you don't really have exactly the same order than you have here, just because the first one in this list is the 18, but the second one is the 19, which is in this list at this position, so you have to move it up if you want your numbers to be exactly as it is like that. So these two lists are related, and these two lists are related as well. So you have the same options here. Okay, it's gonna be better if I do that. Okay, left, middle, right. Okay, you can rotate them, etc. Now I will remove these numbers and talk about the dots. Okay, you have these little circles on each end, and you can show them or hide them. They can be circles, and you can change their radius, the number of segments. They can be squares, you can change their length and width. They can be spheres, where you can change the number of segments, the radius, and they can be custom mesh, so you can pick an external mesh as a dot mesh. So now it is this cube which is a dot. And you can remove it like that and go back to circles. Okay. So for now, if you rotate the objects, the circles are not going to follow, but if you check the follow nodes, they are going to follow the connections here, which is fine. And like all the other UI Toolkit objects, this one already have some material IDs set it for you, so it's automatically done, which means that if I apply a multi-sub object material to it, we'll assign it. So for now it is black because I have nothing plugged here. Then I can add a standard right here, another one here, and another one here. So basically the first one is for the text. So if I change the color here, you see that it changes the text colors. The second one is for the dots, and the third one is for the lines. So you can make them look what you want with these options. And that's it. See you in the next video.